cabbage time. It's time for the Cabbage Patch. Welcome to Booze and the Bees. You're in the Cabbage Patch.
I hope you're staying jazzy. Thanks for watching.
Did you like my radio voice?
I did.
Welcome to Booze and the Bees. I didn't sound anything like that.
I don't know if I like it.
Welcome.
Now you're turning into Goofy.
Oh, jeez.
No, don't get goofy on me now.
Okay.
Someone, that reminds me, someone commented on my jazz cabbage and they were like, that they call it goofy grass.
Goofy grass?
I liked that too.
I mean,
I obviously am going to stick with jazzy.
Yeah, you've come this far.
But goofy grass is funny.
We're also allowed to adapt and change. We are allowed to grow and develop. We can become stronger than we were previously.
The jazz has just started, baby.
The jazz is just beginning.
I'm not ready for it to
The jazz has just begun.
Why are you evil now?
I don't know.
Are you trying different voices this episode?
Yeah, this is the voice episode. I try 3 voices.
3.
Those are them.
Oh, wait. What? I got the announcer one, the evil one. What was the other one?
Goofy?
Oh, Goofy.
Yeah, 3. Those are it. Those are the voices you get.
Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, that's a nice episode.
And mic drop. No. Okay. So this episode, I'm happy we have some questions and topics to talk about thanks to some of my booze on social media. So shout out to y'all. I have a few, let's just get started with the first one. Okay. How to help your social anxiety while on a date. Now, I don't know exactly what is considered social anxiety because I'm just anxious.
I think it's now that it's 2024, that can even be in the title. Social anxiety and dating in 2024. Everybody's anxious because no one knows how to express emotions. I think we forgot that. So I don't know what you would classify social anxiety as. I think probably knock it down a few notches because there's a lot of people who have anxious moments and don't realize that's just life. And I think we should talk to that because some people have social anxiety that's medically diagnosed, really crippling. And some people are just I'm anxious, but it's you're just now realizing life has challenges, and they expect it to be easier than it is. And I think breaking through that barrier and saying life is hard, life does cause anxiety and stress, but it's not medical anxiety. It's just life.
Yeah. Well, I was medically diagnosed.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people are just, I get nervous. And it's well, you're nervous, but you need to get over it because that's life. And it's not going to change and adapt for you.
Yeah, because you don't want to have, defining it, I have social anxiety, it doesn't really change anything.
No.
You have to. So I guess that goes back to the question, how to help feeling anxious in a social setting and a date.
And I'm not somebody with any of that anxiety. I get stressed at work. I get stressed in stressful situations. Your heart races when you get nervous before a presentation. Just try to do it like this. Don't classify yourself as somebody with a problem. As soon as you define a problem that you have, especially self-diagnosed, you become that problem. And it kind of gives you an excuse to not feel bad about not being good at something.
Right.
Instead of saying, I have anxiety and therefore it's okay that I'm bad at something, your results aren't going to reflect what you want. If you want good results, that is you having fun and meeting friends or getting a promotion, you're going to just need to confront, I have anxiety and therefore I must go above and beyond. You just say you have to push past it instead of giving yourself an excuse.
Yeah, so, I like that.
That would be the first step.
It's hard for me. I don't really remember my anxiety being a factor when it came to first dates and stuff. Because I'm trying to think in social settings where it's multiple people and I don't really know anybody, I get anxious in that way. But one-on-one setting with someone on a date, I don't really get anxious.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you can't really relate because you said you don't get anxious.
Yeah, I don't really get.
I'm
much more extroverted, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have as much of a problem with that, but there's definitely things in my life I've had to overcome, like having ADHD, and it's very difficult to get things done and focused on. And you just have to kind of say, if this is my issue, what's the way to solve it, right? I always lose my keys. I lost my phone all day. So I had to create a space. I always put my keys. And if I notice something's out of place, I say, I'll remember that and grab it later. I will not remember it and grab it later. I just have to acknowledge I will not do that and must do something to fix it. I can't live my life saying, oh yeah, just lose my keys every day. It's just a normal part of my life. That's unacceptable. And so even though I have a deficit, I have to go above and beyond to fix the deficit. So if you have a lot of anxieties and it's crippling, you have to say, what is one thing that's achievable that I can accomplish, and say, that's my task. So if you really struggle just to talk to anybody, maybe set the bar of, I'm going to go outside and go to a place where people exist, and I'm not going to talk to anybody. And do that until you get comfortable enough to get there. You say, okay, I've accomplished that task. Now I'm going to compliment somebody's shoes once a day.
Well, something that helped me recently, because I was looking up how to talk in a podcast with other people, because with doing it with you, because you're my partner, it's really easy to talk to you. But when I had to do a co-host setting where I was talking to different people, it made me really anxious. I was very anxious for that moment. So I looked up tips, and it helped learning like how to talk to people just in general. So asking questions, and then like finding how to relate stuff that they talk about to you is something that I try to do more. So like learning how to just like be a person and talk. Kind of sounds silly to research, but I mean, if you don't want to do the research in real life yet, do the research on YouTube, and it's pretty helpful.
Yeah, you can learn almost anything on YouTube. I think the biggest disaster is, don't make it something you identify as. And if it is a problem that you struggle with, think of the easiest thing you can tackle, or that's just outside of your comfort range, and just get that done. Like, you don't ask a kid to start on calculus. You ask them to do 1 + 1. And then you go to multiplication, then division, and eventually you can work up to it. So don't say, I have to put myself in the most difficult, impossible scenario for me. See where you're comfortable, slowly work into it, and start to get achievement doing that. Like I say, compliment somebody's shoes, work up to talking to somebody. You know, there's ways you can grow through any issue you have. And you might not be the best in the world at the end of it. If you're really socially anxious and you hate talking in front of people, you're probably not going to be the world's best public speaker, but you can get to a point where you can get your goals accomplished, which is finding a partner, meeting new friends, getting that promotion.
Yeah.
So work up to what your goals are, because hiding from the solution is not going to fix it. And using it as an excuse, you're going to have an excuse and then be sad and die alone. So that would be a really bad outcome of saying, at least I died alone with an excuse, instead of saying, I really had to work harder than everybody else, but at least I got this far. And you can feel proud of that. You got somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know if this is the best for like advice, but getting jazzy definitely helps me with social situations. But my boo Shy, who did ask the question about social anxiety on a date, said that she noticed that jazz cabbage makes her more antisocial. So everybody is definitely different when it comes to getting jazzy. Just PSA.
Yeah.
My experiences with jazz cabbage could be totally different than yours. So I like being able to share them with y'all, but don't think like because it did this with me, it's going to do that with you. Yeah,
and there's actually somebody who was talking to us at a grow house and said that certain people have different cannabinoid systems. So whereas sativa tends to make people more energetic, and indica tends to make people more relaxed, there's people who have that switched in them. Like their body is just naturally inverse. So everyone has minute, like small differences. Some people have massive, complete changes on cannabis and different types of cannabis and edibles and everything else.
I'm on live.
Oh, my word.
I kept trying to like touch you as a sign, but that wasn't working. So I had to interrupt. Yeah, we're talking about cabbage.
Yeah, cabbage systems.
Cabbagenoids.
Cabbagenoids. So we're going to have to start calling it.
Yeah, we should do a whole episode on that when I'm not live, and we could talk, because I think it's really interesting, and I would love to talk to different people who are more educated about it. So, because it's really interesting how it does really affect everybody. I feel like each individual
Yeah.
in their own experience. But so back to the social anxiety questions. Talk about so someone was asking what kind of activities can I not do while jazzy? And driving is one of those.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I mean, and there's certain people who say they can, but let's just throw it out there. Don't be under the influence of anything and operate something that can hurt somebody else.
I agree.
That's just the bare minimum.
It's not. It's definitely not worth it. Like I get anxious driving already. So like you would think like, oh, why don't you get jazzy before? Like no, it just makes me more anxious because I'd rather be alert the best of my abilities. And when I get jazzy, I'd rather not think too hard. Like I can still work, but I want to, like, if I really need focus, then I won't get jazzy.
Yeah, and your work is a lot of creative work and social work and being pleasant to people. You know, that's a majority of what you do. So being jazzy doesn't take away from your ability to do that or your ability to be a good mother or play kids games, you know. That's all stuff getting jazzy helps with. Whereas like heavy machinery that could really injure somebody, it's like that's not the time and place, you know, for you.
Yeah.
And again, not to say that people don't do it, but we're just not the type to endorse people doing any dangerous activities in general.
And another one, working out. I don't like lifting weights while jazzy because that's another thing that's a focus that I really have to focus a certain part of my brain with it. Like you said, my creative work is way easier for me. So getting jazzy doesn't really affect that. It more enhances it in a way.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm trying to have it do.
I've actually heard from a lot of people, it's very big in the jiu-jitsu community to get jazzy because it helps you focus on the one thing that's in front of you. Because what it does is it stimulates your focus onto one thing. But it seems like a distraction in many cases because if you're trying to focus on work, you might be focusing on what snack to eat next or, you know, why the sky is blue instead of actually what you're working on. But in jiu-jitsu, you're so involved in it and there's two people that it can help you focus in on your moves and your next step. And a lot of people get into the flow of jiu-jitsu. Some people like it with weight training as well. I liked it when I was doing cardio. I didn't really do a lot of weight, like heavy resistance training when I used to partake in the cabbage. Mm-hmm. So I can't really say how I would like that, but I've heard others talk about their stories while on cabbage, and they say they can actually feel each fiber, so it helps their mind to muscle connection.
Yeah, I've heard people say they like it before running, and some people like it before working out. For me personally, I just don't. And I was trying to think. There's not many activities I don't like doing while jazzy. But, you know, thinking about it, if I was ever to try like skydiving or something, it's funny because I would think I would want to be jazzy. But at the same time, I don't think I would because I would be like, I got to be focused. And I feel like the jazzy might make me scared, which maybe might relate to why shy feels antisocial. Because I can see how getting jazzy before being out in public can make you anxious. Because you might be overthinking what people know you're jazzy.
Yeah.
And like you're making it a bigger deal in your head and stuff when really nobody has any idea. Or maybe they do and they don't care. Or
even if they do care, does it affect you?
It doesn't affect you.
Yeah. And so that's one thing to note as well, is there's a lot of times when you go into something new that you're going to feel uncomfortable. That is life. You know, when you're in third grade going to fourth, you're going to feel uncomfortable. When you're going from high school to college, you're going to feel uncomfortable. When you're going from one job to another, anytime you enter a new scenario, people just in general are uncomfortable with it. There's so many things going through your mind. Is your boss going to like you? Are you going to handle the new tasks well at your new position? So much is happening already that to add in another variable, doing the cabbage, you might just be overly stimulated and stressed out and you're thinking about too much already. So for Shy, where you're saying it helps your social anxiety, you're already good at going out. Like in terms of she would go to the bars and party with her friends and dance with her friends in certain scenarios and maybe not good with talking with strangers, but really good around her friends and really good around being in big, loud places. So to add cabbage into the mix wasn't a huge step for you. But for someone else who's just uncomfortable getting outside, that might just be too much of a push too quickly. And you might have to just get over the first hurdle of, okay, now I can talk to people, or I can sit in a room full of people who aren't talking to me and at least be comfortable enough with myself. There's a lot of people that look at their shoes and be like, oh my God, there's a spot on my shoe. I can't believe I have a small spot on my shoe. Everyone's going to notice. The love of my life is going to see that spot on my shoe and they're going to walk away and I'll never speak to them again. And that's a big issue. So you just got to remember, not everybody is thinking about you as much as themselves.
Yeah,
and being
definitely.
able to get over that first will allow you to open up more. And if you like being jazzy, you can be jazzy and not stress about it. But if you're stressed about your shoe spot that no one's going to notice.
I love referring it to that way. And just like in a job interview, like if something happens and you have a little spot on your shirt, if that's your focus the whole time, we're not going to be focused on talking like a person. Yeah. And the questions and saying the right things. You're going to be just focused on that. And
let's throw it out there. Maybe you do have a spot on your shirt during an interview and you do not get hired because of the spot. Well, thinking about it definitely didn't increase your odds.
Right.
So there you go.
Yeah, because there could have been a spot, but then you could have just had the best answers for everything.
Yeah.
You're like, well, you know.
But don't dress like that again, but you get an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how dare you do that? But, you answered well. If you have a spot on your shirt and then you stutter every question, then you're definitely not getting the position. They'll be like, can you remember that person with the spot on their shirt? Like, I kid you not. I actually went to do a job at a wood pallet building factory in the small town that has a bit of a problem with substances. And there was an obvious mother with like vomit all over her shirt for an interview that day. And it's like, you couldn't have picked a shirt without baby vomit on it for your interview? But the pool of candidates was so bad that it's like, well, someone's got to do the position, but really, baby vomit?
I mean, that could have happened very last second.
It could have happened very last second. There's nothing they can do. And it just goes to show you, it's like, well, ideally you wouldn't have the baby vomit. But if you go into the interview and that's all you talk about, then you're definitely not getting the job. And you had vomit on your shirt and you wasted your whole day during the interview.
Yeah, you should just be like, oh, this? Oh, I didn't even.
Yeah, baby vomit on me right before I got here, but I'm a good mother and I'm still on time.
Yeah.
It's like, at least play the cards you got,
Exactly.
You can't control everything, and I think that's kind of the moral of the story is you can't. And it doesn't matter what other people think. You might lose opportunities because of it, but you literally can't control those. So focus on what you can do in the moment. And if you remember, hey, that spot on my shoe really made a big impact on my day, you'll remember next time to clean your shoe before you go out. You can start to actually apply these little anxieties to fixing the issues.
Yeah, because maybe you got the spot because you were already anxious that morning. And so you being anxious and not paying attention made you
stutter or spill
clumsy.
something, be a klutz.
Yeah. So
sometimes anxiety is good. It tells you, hey, you should have fixed your clothing before you went out. Just take it like that, because you can either take it bad or you can take it good.
Well, I'm trying to help them just like not be anxious in the first place.
Yeah. Well, sometimes
you can't help it.
You can't help it. I'm going to relate anxious to worry, because I have this, I do worry from time to time, but I've got this saying, right? You worry for a reason because you need to do something. If I have a test and I'm worried about it because I don't know the material, then don't worry about it, because you're studying as hard as you can and that's all you can do. So don't worry. Or you're not going to study for the test because you want to go partying with your friends. So don't worry about the test, because you already decided you're not studying anyway. So there's no reason to worry either way.
Yeah, that's like when I'm saying, tell them, like, are there action steps you can take if you're anxious about something? Yes, then do those if you're just going to think about it. Or are there no action steps you can take? Okay, then probably worrying about it isn't going to change anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what I'm getting at.
I like how you related it to worry. I like that.
Yeah, because like I said, the spot, what are you going to do? Well, maybe next time you can clean your shoe or not think about it, Yeah. But if you're already out, literally nothing you can do.
Exactly. I love that. I'm trying to think of how to give advice of introducing jazz cabbage to like social stuff without feeling anxious, because another Boo 420 blazed Becca, those were basically her questions too. It's like tips on social anxiety and does the jazz cabbage make you more anxious? So I'm just trying to think, because like you said, I've already was a social person. So it's hard for me. I guess you were too. So I guess it's kind of hard for both of us to kind of relate on.
It's definitely hard to relate on, but just using any life experience. I mean, we've gone to different events that were out of our comfort zone, like stockholder meetings.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
and we don't know a lot of the people there, and there's drinking involved, and you know, how much do I tip? Do I hold my drink in this hand and that hand? And my, you know, was I awkward? Was the lighting weird? Should I have asked them a question about something? Should I have complimented them? And all these things go through your head because it's a different professional setting that it can be overwhelming. And it really just goes into, just like they're saying with jazz cabbage or drinking or being sober, it's just, you just have to get over the first hurdle, and that's literally putting yourself in a position of being uncomfortable and acknowledging that it's okay to be uncomfortable, and in fact is good to be uncomfortable because it means it's somewhere you can grow. Yeah. If you're always comfortable, you're never changing, and change is good. You know those people?
It is good. It's really good.
Have you ever seen those people where they see you like 10 years after high school and they say, "Oh man, you've changed." Well, good.
You literally got
I hope
that
I should
yesterday,
change.
didn't you? Oh no, he said you looked good. We ran into somebody you knew from college randomly on our hike.
Yeah.
That was so random.
Yeah, they didn't recognize me.
Yeah,
They said, "Oh, whoa, you look good," you know, and walked on.
Yeah, good. Yeah, because
you should change.
Changed. Yeah, change is really good. Definitely got to put that narrative out there.
There's a lot of people, they hit 18, they graduate high school or drop out or whatever they do, and then they do that for another 10 years. And you got to imagine, let's say they were 20. Another 10 years, that's a third of your life. And so you're saying the difference between 0 and 10 was the same? You're saying from 10 to 20 was the same?
Right.
There was no change. You learned nothing. So why should 20 to 30 be no change? There was such dramatic change between each of these age groups that it's ridiculous to think I should stop changing at 20 or I should stop changing at 30s. You should always be trying to develop yourself. And when you were a kid, you're uncomfortable doing almost anything. Kids cry when they forget, like, "Oh, I lost my dollar," or "I spilled my milk," you know, and they just lose it because it's such an uncomfortable scenario for them. And when you get older, you're like, "I was so silly to think that was uncomfortable." Well, if you're 35 and you're still uncomfortable going outside, don't beat yourself up about it because it's not going to help anything. Beating yourself up about something is not an action plan that actually yields results.
Right.
Say, I'm not going to be 45 and look back and be the same me. I'm not going to keep crying over spilled milk.
There's never like too late.
No.
It's too late for me to change. I'm already
40.
X old. Yeah.
So in America, the average lifespan's 80 for men. It's longer for women. So if you're 40, you still have 40 years left.
Right.
So you're saying, "Oh, I'm done. I'm too late." You got 40 more.
Keep going.
And you got to imagine, you don't even remember between 0 and 5. 0 to 10, I would argue most people don't remember. They might have a glimpse of someone they knew from back then, but you do not remember firmly what happened from 0 to 10. So if you're 40, you literally only have 30 years of conscious knowledge of your life.
This reminds me of that guy from 90 Day, and he's like, "You can't change me," or like, "I'm not gonna change," and his wife wanted him to just slow down a little bit on drinking.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm just a free spirit, bro." Hey, bro. I'm a free spirit. If I want to drink at 9, I'll have a beer at 9.
He was like so stuck on like he just wasn't a really great person.
He's not the best.
He was like,
partner.
"You can't change me." Like, yeah, I'm never gonna change, and I'm just like, don't.
Why would you want to not change?
Yeah, that should be a red flag. Don't be with someone who doesn't want to change.
Yeah, and also don't want to change people.
No, that's different.
It's a different red flag.
That's different.
Two different red flags.
Some people think they can change people. And
you want to be with someone who acknowledges that change is just a fact of life and that wants to change in a way you want to change as well. Yeah. And then you can both do that together.
Right.
You know,
like both of us getting
time.
Like healthier and working out more and stuff.
Yeah, but it's not like I had to go be obese and she had to already be like jacked fit. It's like, no, we both started from somewhere with some certain health goals and we're both working at them at our pace together as a partnership, you know. So okay, what's next?
That was it on the social anxiety and jazz cabbage topics and relation. Oh, I don't know if we were talking about relationships.
Why don't we go into
dating?
Different activities? And you're doing a series right now, 29 chapters going into 30.
Yeah, that's what I was going to relate us talking about change to that because that was perfect timing because it's my last year of my 20s and I'm pushing myself to do more things. And like you said, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. I did a 6-hour hike yesterday. Whew. Now, I haven't really sat and thought about how much it's changed me. I guess it lets me know I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
So now I know I can. So now I know I can do more things. I guess that's a good lesson to get from it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a great experience. It was fun. And our Minnie did wonderful. She did better than me.
Yeah, she loved it. She was jumping everywhere. And also, just as a parent, just to be there and support new activities like that. And what if she loved hiking so much she just became an avid hiker growing up, right? Not giving her an opportunity to try things that you don't like is basically setting her up to be you, but not necessarily be you, but be the worst parts of you. Because a lot of people change and develop their best selves through hardships. Mm-hmm. So if you only show them all the good stuff that you do, but don't let her experience her own hardships, she'll never be able to grow and develop into her own person.
Right.
So she literally just becomes the worst parts of you.
Yeah. And if I wasn't like trying to do this challenge really for myself, then I never would have had her do that with me, ever.
And she wouldn't have been able to experience if she liked it or not. My parents had me in every single sport imaginable. I'm allergic to grass, so I had a very unpleasant time during most sports, but I was forced to play them my entire life growing up because they wanted me to know, it's like, do you actually not like these things, or did you not find one you liked? Right. And they would make me try multiple times. I was on multiple baseball teams. I was on multiple like soccer teams and tennis teams and everything. And I liked bowling, and I owned bowling balls. I like golfing from time to time, right? Because we lived on a golf course. Mm-hmm. That's just more expensive, so I don't do it too much. Even though it's grass, it's not grass and then a ton of aerobic activity, so I'm breathing in a ton of grass and getting a bunch of sneezes, right? I can just take a pill, and then I can go out and I can play golf.
I tried things in high school when I was younger.
Yeah, and then at some point in adulthood, people just stop trying.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're getting at here, and I think that's what a lot of self-diagnosed anxiety is I stopped trying, and now I'm uncomfortable everywhere, and people told me it's okay, and it really isn't. No one's forcing you to try anymore because you don't have parents. Yeah. And now it's up to you to force yourself.
You need to have it's hard to find good friends who are also making those good choices, and friends don't really tell you to go challenge yourself unless they're like yeah.
And also there's a lot of friends that are going to use you for who you are at that moment, and that's why they don't want you to change. They definitely want to hear you talk about growth, but they don't want to see you do it, and they're definitely not going to be by you when you're doing it.
Ouch.
Yeah, and that's just
I want to hit a little bit.
That's most friends, right? So some are going to be with you forever, but it's a smaller number than you think, and the older you get, you sort of realize that.
That got a little sad there at the end.
And it's a little sad, but I mean, it helps people realize. Man, that auto exposure thing is lame. Why don't you click on your face so that it locks in the exposure?
It's okay. I don't have to worry about that during the podcast.
Okay, yeah, they can have the strobe lights.
But yeah, I really like this episode. I think we did good talking about it and relating it to both of us. I love that.
What's our time looking like?
I have no idea. We're bad. We don't time.
When did when did we start?
Yeah, they don't.
We're on live also for everybody out there. We go live on TikTok from time to time, and we have a Discord community.
Yeah, my Boom Unity.
The Boom Unity. So if anybody subs, they get to come in and do lots of fun activities. And one of those things is talk to us during the lives and offer us questions. So if you ever want a question answered from our perspective, you can. We're here.
And also, please feel free to comment too on the podcast as well, like different topics you want us to try talking about or challenges. I want to start doing challenges too. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
No, we're getting to a point where we're going to start having intermissions that'll be fun.
Yeah, we want to have like jazzy hour.
We're going to have jazz intermissions where we're going to do funny things, but I don't partake.
Right, so we have to think of different things for you too. And like I have like different ideas written down, like couples corner. That could be when we're talking about relationship stuff. Cute. You know, that way we could have it a little bit more. It's hard. I'm wondering how it's going to go to keep us organized because our thoughts and our stories go all over the place. So we're going to try to do little segments and see how that goes. I think that would be fun. There's like mindful moments. Talk about like we could do a little meditation exercise, or, you know, something to help people relax or find positivity. That's a different idea. I can't talk about the other two right now because they're jazzy related, but
jazz related.
It's like jazz cabbage stories, basically, but you relate it to the jazz cabbage flavor that I'm currently jazzing on. I don't know how to like explain that. Give an example.
All right, so that's
like
the
if
episode.
I'm getting jazzy on Funky Charms, I don't know what I would relate that to. A time I felt funky or charming.
Oh, you're charming.
or ate Lucky Charms, because that's what it makes me think of.
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds so good now.
Lucky Charms.
I love Lucky Charms.
Yeah, and then Minnie eats all the marshmallows, so you don't have any.
Stinking. Stinking. But yeah, I think this episode was great. I think we could wrap it up with our, ready?
Guffaw. That means laughter, so you better laugh.
Boisterous laugh. Yay, love y'all. We did it.
Okay.
We did it. Goodbye.
We did it. Bye.
Get out of here, please.
We need a co-host cam because our cat is sitting here sleeping.
We will be practicing that soon. Is he purring?
No purrs.
He's trying to
when it's in his face, he doesn't purr. Now he's purring.
We gotta, I can't wait when we can get another mic. So during an ASMR episode, we should have him in the background purring the whole time.
It's just all he does. He's a little purr boy.
Mic. That'd be so cute.
He purrs and stinks.
That would give views, babe. Just a purr episode.
It's the perfect episode.
Ooh.
Nice.
You just have to make sure he's purring the whole time.
Oh, we'll just make it a short. I mean, no one has attention span for that anyway.
That would make people literally go to sleep. They would love that.
We'll just have it on repeat for 5 hours and they just sleep through it.
Okay, bye.
We're out.